Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it's so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right. It's hump day. Welcome into a very interesting edition of the JP Peterson Show. We've got a couple of great guests for you. The great Doug Wechter is going to join us at 11 o'clock and talk about last night's stinking Yankees game. That was not good. Glad I missed it. Glad I was at the Coldplay concert having a hell of a time while y'all were watching that boring-ass game from the Boogie Down. As Nick Geddes joins me from Outkick.com this morning. How are you, sir? Are you still a little sleepy after watching that snoozer last night?
I was going to say I had undivided attention on the Rays last night. Big game against the Yankees, Kluber, Cole, Yankee Stadium, the whole 9 yards, and I get a shutout.
Should have gone to the Coldplay concert.
No, I don't think I should have gone to the Coldplay concert.
Come on, man.
I have no idea how they put. You said 58,000 people,
and that was I think that was the largest attended outdoor concert for them this year.
Wow.
Or on the tour.
Yeah, I have no idea how in the world they
people.
put 58,000 people in Raymond James Stadium. Maybe I'm underselling.
You're not a big Coldplay fan?
No, I saw their little Super Bowl halftime show. I thought it was mild, very mild. Yeah. I didn't think they were that big of this kind of band. They were
the biggest band on the planet for a long time. They had they have a huge following. Mostly, I would say 30s to fifth into the 50s. It was an older crowd, no doubt about it. It's not Bruce Springsteen old, but it's a very eclectic crowd, no doubt about it. But the highlight of the night from the first sports fans was he wrote a song for the Buccaneers in Tampa Bay. Said they've always wanted to have a pirate ship on their stage. And lo and behold, they come into the stadium and there's one already there built for them. So he goes, I have to write a song. So he literally wrote a song like yesterday, didn't even rehearse it, and just gave it to the guys and said, here, well, let's just do it. We're going to do it right now. And they did it. And I'm going to play it for you because I recorded the whole damn thing. I don't know if copyright available to do that, but I think we put it on Twitter. So it's out in the public domain. I'm sure they would.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I don't think that's a huge problem with
it. But anyway, I thought they were bred for the Mid-Florida Credit Amphitheater.
Oh, no.
I thought they were that kind of act.
No, this is stadium show. And there are not many acts, frankly, that can fill up a stadium like that.
No, there's not.
And they had more than Kenny Chesney did a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's Coldplay. And that was a show that was scheduled for 2020 that got COVIDed, and they added it to the end of their U.S. tour, which they were nice enough to do. And so they played on a Tuesday night in Raymond James Stadium. And it had that feeling of, and, for me, and I think a lot of people around me agreed, of an epic moment. Like I'm watching Chris Martin, and I'm watching this incredible band that has really spanned a couple of decades and been extremely popular all over the world. They're one of the biggest bands in the world. And, It was incredible. It was an incredible night of this fireworks, and they have the lineup bracelets that bounce to the music, and that they've been. I think they were the first band to ever do that. Phenomenal. They're just phenomenal, and they had these big huge beach balls. Not even beach balls. A different type of huge balls that were bouncing around. It just made for, and the light show was just incredible. It just made for like an epic evening, and the songs like Yellow and Paradise and all these classics, and it was incredible. It was an incredible night. It had a great emotional tone to it. The music, if you know the meaning of the songs, it's important. It was a little woke for me. I ain't gonna lie about that. There was a lot of talk about saving the planet, which I'm all for. We're all for that. I found it just a little bit interesting. One of the things they were promoting was they did this huge tree reforestation in Yellowstone Park, where a lot of the money used from the ticket sales was used to reforest Yellowstone Park and plant these baby trees, which after yesterday's epic flood at Yellowstone, I think they're all underwater now. So kind of all that save the earth money and planting of the trees kind of went to nothing because of nature. Nature flooded it.
Well, now that we're 5 minutes in and we've talked nothing but Coldplay and nature.
It was an amazing concert.
Glad you had a great time with 60,000.
All right, I'm boring all of you.
But it's game one of the Stanley Cup final. Yes, it is, for the third straight year.
All right, thank you for getting me back on
track.
For
the third straight year, the fourth time in the last 7 seasons, and the fifth
We got 2 hours to talk about it. All right, let's get into it.
The fifth time in the 30-year history of the Tampa Bay Lightning. So how about that?
Yes.
So very excited.
You know, we have people complain sometimes that we just always talk about sports when we need to mix a little pop culture in. So I was trying to do that, but maybe not off the top of the show. You're right. And we'll play that little song for you later on. Yes. And all the boys talked yesterday. So we're going to hear from Braden Point, John Cooper here in a little bit. Braden Point's going to play. I think he's going to play. They're talking about maybe game 2. No, he's going to play game 1. He's skated around. Unless he has a really, really bad reaction to yesterday's skate this morning, then he's going to play. And he's going to play on the third line with Nick Paul and Ross Colton, which I think is going to be very, very interesting going up against this explosive Avalanche team. And you'll hear Cooper say this about, last year was more about playing these great defensive teams. And this year it's more about playing these incredibly explosive offensive teams, which frankly, I think is a better matchup for the Lightning. I think it's better for them to play teams that are explosive, that are used to scoring a lot, because I think they're going to get frustrated with the way the Lightning are going to cut off their passing lanes. Vasilevsky, obviously the best goalie in the game. It's going to frustrate Colorado. And I think it'll take them out of their game, and they're going to have to deal with that frustration. And how do they deal with that frustration? They've been, playing against the Mike Smiths of the world. Hello. This is a whole different level, and you're not going to be able to score 8-9 goals in this game. And can the Avalanche win 2-1 hockey games? Now, they beat the Lightning a couple times this year, both close games, both. So I think you're going to see tight checking, low-scoring games, and the Lightning know how to win those in the playoffs. So that's why I kind of like the Lightning there.
Well, according to Colorado, they think that we haven't faced a challenge like them. I forget who it was. It might have been Kel McCarr. It might have been McKinnon. It was one of those two yesterday who said, they went through the gauntlet of Toronto, Florida, New York, all beasts in their own right.
Yes.
But they feel like at this point, they're still just a different animal. And in some respects, I kind of tend to agree with that. This is, make no mistake about it, this is the first time the Stanley Cup final has had the 2 preseason betting favorites since 2009, Pittsburgh and Detroit.
Right.
If you go back in time, I think since Boston and Chicago in 2013, probably the 2 best teams I think I've ever seen in a Stanley Cup final matchup.
Yeah.
So this is an all-timer we're getting ready here for. And I think both are evenly matched. So I would tend to agree with that assessment that they are a different animal. I think Braden Point, the fact that they had him speak yesterday, tells me he's playing. They would not put him up there if he's not going to speak.
Yeah.
Nazem Kadri, on the other hand, I don't know if he's I know he thinks he can probably get back in there, but he was initially ruled out for the entire playoffs.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I want to see how Colorado adjusts to playing without one of their stars. I know what the Lightning can do.
Right.
I want to see what Colorado can do.
Yeah, I think that's going to be an adjustment for them as well. So I think a lot of this, to me, points into the Lightning favor, and I may be a little bit biased in that, but I think objectively looking at this series, I just, clearly the Lightning have the better goaltender. You mentioned Kadri's injury, and as the Lightning get back to full health with Braden Point, I think obviously the altitude certainly helps the Avalanche in that way. They've got questions at goalie. Is it going to be Darcy Kemper or Pavel Francouz, who's 6-0? And Kemper is 6-2.
That's a fantastic name.
Francouz.
That's a fantastic name.
Francouz. And Kemper's been their number one guy all year long, but he's also lost 2 games in these playoffs. Francouz is 6-0, an .897 save percentage for Kemper. That's not great.
No,
that's not great. Certainly not the .991 that the Vasilevsky has in clinching games, where I believe he's at .925 for the postseason. Not too shabby. So I think a lot of this, honestly, is, and plus the layoff. What is it? 7-8 days, depending on how you want to look at it. It's a lot. It's a lot for the Avs. So I like the Lightning in game 1 tonight. I really do. I like their chances. I like them to steal one and win it in 6. All right. Before we get to the sound, we got some Rays news for you. So this morning in the Tampa Bay Times, Kent Welsh, the new mayor of St. Petersburg, talking about the redevelopment of Tropicana Field, which of course he's very, very hot on. He wants to pick one of the two developers to get it going. He's been doing a lot of research on this, and I can tell you, and he said that he is putting out a deadline of June 30th to make a decision, and he needs to know from the Rays by then whether they want to play in St. Petersburg or in Tampa. Now, I've talked to some folks this week about this situation, and I can tell you, and I'd said that we were going to get some type of decision this month. That's what Welch wants. And the Rays say, how does he put it in this in the article that was in the Times today? Welch just said the Rays are aware of the June, understand the June 30th timeline. Now, this is, Kreisman this is why he was so pissed off at the Rays as well, because they basically have veto power over the redevelopment, and Sternberg would not bargain in good faith with him. He could never move forward because Sternberg wants to keep stringing this out to put pressure on Hillsborough to get the best deal. And that's why Welch is saying, screw it. I need a deadline. And I think Welch is now finally realizes, now that he's done his due diligence, that it's not going to be St. Petersburg. Major League Baseball is not going to allow that. I've been telling you guys this for 10 years. It's not going to happen. And so what Welch wants to do is finally hold the Rays' feet to the fire. But what Welch doesn't understand is that Stu is holding the trump card of the veto power. So, he's going to find out that, and he's going to find out that dealing with Stu is dealing with somebody who's completely disingenuous, is going to deal in bad faith. This is what he's been doing for 4 or 5 years to string it out as long as he can, because he's printing money at Tropicana Field. So we'll see if the Rays give him what he wants. He hasn't done it for Kreisman. He didn't do it for Baker. He didn't do it for anybody else. Didn't do it for Tampa. He's been disingenuous all the way along. So they may understand his June 30th timeline. But what it tells me is Welch is moving on without them. I think he realizes that it's not going to happen in St. Petersburg. He wants to redevelop the Trop site, and he's going to try and move on without them. Now, legally, will he be able to do that? I don't know. I hope so, because the people of St. Petersburg deserve it. It's time to get it done. It's past time to get it done. And one man is holding it up in Tampa and St. Petersburg, and that's Stu Sternberg. So I applaud Mayor Wells for putting a deadline on this. Now, as far as what's happening in Tampa, I was told that they are not close. Well, I shouldn't say not close. I should say they're not as close as we had hoped to announcing a roof design, finances by June 30th. I think we're going to know that it's going to be Tampa by June 30th, but I don't think we're going to have the final design and the final cost and anything like that. Now, how that moves forward, does it now become Tampa or someplace else? Is it going to be, either Tampa gets it done or they're going to threaten to move the team? Now, Major League Baseball has said they do not want to leave this market. Commissioner Manfred said that they're committed to the Tampa Bay market. And why wouldn't they be? It's the 11th largest market, and it's growing leaps and bounds. It would be absolutely silly to leave this market. Plus the 18th largest market in Orlando, an hour away. Move it closer to Orlando. They know, like everybody else, the demographics are way better in downtown Tampa. And it will be, I'm not sitting here going to say it's going to be 25,000 every night, but I think you could easily average 20,000 fans in Tampa. And that's more than enough to sustain baseball here for generations to come. And we need a new field. The old one's obsolete. Move it to the middle of the market. This is like such absolute tic-tac-toe. Here it is. It's easy. It's 1 + 1 = 2. The numbers all work out. The numbers all point to Tampa. It's always been this way. I've been shocked for years that people don't understand it, to be quite honest. But I think we're going to have some certainty by June 30th that it's going to be in Tampa. But the roof design, et cetera, I think might take a little bit longer. So that's your update, and I think it's good. It's moving things forward. And I don't think the Rays are going to move. So they're going to get this thing done in Tampa with Stu or without him. And that's a whole nother thing. We haven't heard much on the lawsuit update. The partners did file a separate lawsuit, a second lawsuit against him, and that's more legalese to get a better venue in court. They do have the one count that is still going to a jury trial as of now. The Rays appealed that, but they're going to lose it. So that is, as of right now, that one count of getting Stu removed as the managing general partner is still headed for a jury trial. And if it is a jury trial, that means depositions, that means discovery, that means the Rays are going to have to open their books and it's going to be public. And Major League Baseball has never allowed that to happen. I doubt if they ever will. So something then is going to have to be done vis-a-vis Stu and that lawsuit and the ownership of this team. So there's a lot to be done. But again, in my mind, it all leads to a Tampa stadium in Ybor, most likely, I think, without Stu Sternberg as the managing general partner, which if that's not a huge win for Tampa Bay, I don't know what is. All right. On the field last night, I'll defer to you. How bad was it? I saw the highlights. Manuel Margot dropping an easy fly ball. Randy Arozarena getting a one-hopper, a deep short, and airmailing it over the head of the catcher. I mean, two really easy plays that the Rays just botched, and it turns out to be the only 2 runs in the game. I saw that.
Well, when you're facing Garrett Cole, and the Rays, compared to other teams in the league, have done pretty well against
Really
Garrett
well,
Cole.
yeah.
But last night, it was clear from the first inning, second inning, that Cole had his stuff. He was blowing everybody past everybody. So every single mistake you make is magnified. And Manuel Margot dropping that fly ball, doing it in fair territory as well, which was even worse. And then Isaiah Kiner-Falefa puts one into left field, pokes it out there, and then Arozarena overthrows the catcher. And then Corey Kluber, who I watched, is kind of just walking to the ball and then just does one of these little backhand flips, not just very nonchalantly, to allow the second run to come home. Just bad baseball.
I thought the Margot play was very nonchalant.
It was also very nonchalant.
I thought the Kluber play was very nonchalant. I thought Arozarena's play was easy. I mean, that was short left field, and Stanton doesn't even sprint anymore.
No,
he just
it's
lumbers.
Giancarlo Stanton, and they showed him rounding third, and Arozarena
like he's like going like half speed.
Yeah, Arozarena already had the ball.
Yeah,
Stanton was rounding third. I'm like, oh, this guy's toast. And the throw was there, but I don't know how you airmail that one, but it definitely got away from him. But yeah, I mean, it's like, it wasn't one of those games where the Rays couldn't get hits. I mean, they out-hit the Yankees because Corey Kluber was really good last night. I feel bad they wasted a great start for him.
Yeah, he was good.
But I put it out there. It's like 2-0 felt like 4-0 or even more.
Yeah.
After that happened, you just had that feeling the Rays were not going to get back in it. And
I didn't see the Yandy Diaz play in the sixth at second base where they overturned it. Yandy was pretty adamant that there wasn't enough evidence.
Yeah, they're calling it one of the worst replay reversals in the history of baseball.
It's crucial too.
Yeah, a crucial time.
Yeah.
So
it would have been 2 on, nobody out instead of 1 on, 1 out, and they ended up loading the bases and getting out of it on a double play.
Yeah, so I guess it could have been worse, but the Rays too. I mean, 40 errors, 40 already at this point in the season for the Rays.
And 40 unearned runs, which is second worst in baseball.
And the 40 errors, the most of any team over 500. The only teams that have more, I'm talking Diamondbacks, Pirates, Orioles.
How the hell is this team 9 games over 500? It blows the mind.
It does.
They can't hit. They can't field. They can't run the bases. How the hell are they? What kind of smoke and mirrors BS are they using? It's not sustainable, by the way. It is not sustainable.
I don't think it's sustainable. I'm trying to understand they have so many injuries, but every team in baseball does, right?
Right.
You go up against Garrett Cole, sometimes you just run into a great pitcher. I mean, the Rays had a great outing from Corey Kluber. It happens. But I will say this too, and kind of seeing where the Rays measure up, they've played 5 games against the Yankees now.
Right.
I believe the scoring differential is only +2 in the Yankees' favor. So honestly, they've played the Yankees a lot better than everybody else in baseball has.
Yeah.
Let's be honest about it.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for an encouraging sign, they don't appear to be too far off from the Yankees when they play them. And that's with a roster that right now is a shell of what it could be. So trying to look on the bright side there. And then tonight you're getting Shane McClanahan, who I just have full confidence that every time he goes out there,
Sugar Shane,
I'm getting at least 6 or 7 of good.
Yeah.
Of good pitching. So
gotta hit the baseball.
He's going to give you a chance. But again, Nestor Cortez.
Yeah.
We saw what he did last time. And I don't think
damn near no hit.
And Nestor Cortez is not overpowering. We both said the first 3 innings, I was like, oh, that's the hype.
Yeah.
But you could see he got so much better in the game. And
he's got some wicked late movement.
Yeah.
It's really, really tough to pick up. He hides the ball really, really well. not overpowering, just a really good pitcher. I mean, he knows how to set people up and put them down. And last time the Rays put out their whole right-handed lineup and didn't do squat against him.
I wonder if that's coming today.
Well, the analytics guys certainly will throw it all out there, but that all right-handed lineup, first of all, is awful defensively, worse than, and we're already bad defensively. I would, at this point, if I'm Kevin Cash, I would mix it up a little bit. Would you not? Like, I would keep KK in. I would keep Choi in. You can't do worse than the right-handed lineup did. You can't.
I don't think so, no.
So why not? Get your guys, at least your hottest hitters, your best hitters in there.
Yeah, I mean,
and Choi's a better defensive first baseman.
Again, you look at the lineup. I mean, you're going to have some variation of a Paredes, a Taylor Walls, a Zunino at the moment. Zunino, I think, went on the shelf just now.
And it doesn't look good for him.
It doesn't look good right now. Brett Phillips. There's a lot of my point is there's about 4 to 5 guys who, to be honest with you, they're probably giving you nothing at the plate.
Mm-hmm.
Brujan has started to get going. He'd probably be in the lineup tonight. But you have too many of those guys that really are liabilities at the plate. So I don't know what Kevin Cash could really do. Besides, I mean, he might go back to that whole right-handed lineup. I don't know because he doesn't really have a lot to play with. But it's going to be tough to get one against Nestor, but they need to because then tomorrow you're going to get the day after tomorrow you're going to get the Rasmussen and Severino outing. So tough pitching matchups.
And the Rays, runs are at a premium right now.
They are.
Anyway, do we have the play from last night? The faithful play.
Yeah, we'll listen to it. This is from the Yankees call, so brace yourselves.
Weak contact. Brace yourself for Yankee broadcasting.
Line drive. That's going to be a base hit. Stanton round third. They're going to wave him home. Rosarena with the throw home. It's high over the head of Mejia. And here comes Torres.
What is that?
Scores. 2 runs to the Yankees. They're up 2-0.
That's just bad
baseball,
as Lou Piniella would say.
Yeah, you saw the shot there of Stanton coming around third. He's literally not even a jog.
Yeah.
It's not even a jog.
Yeah.
He's kind of just making
I can't believe they sent him.
Yeah, I don't know why they'd send him there, but the throw is bad, and then equally, like I said, as bad as Corey Kluber just kind of, I guess I'll get to this ball here.
That's not Rays baseball.
It's not Rays baseball, and too many times we've said that about the Rays this year. It's very uncharacteristic. So the fact that they are, 9 games now over 500?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Fire Kevin Cash.
Has to be fired. Jeez.
Hot take, fire Kevin Cash. Tomorrow's show, fire John Cooper. Tom Brady's overrated.
Yeah.
All right, so we have some Cash to listen to make some sense of this BS.
Yeah, we'll get some Kevin. Who looks a little defeated there, does he not?
He looks a little disheveled.
Yeah.
Disheveled is the word. What's in the cup,
start with
Kevin?
The 4th inning, just the defense there, a little tough. Manuel dropped that ball, and then Randy, the costly error, 2 runs scored. What'd you see from that inning?
Look, that's a fair way to describe it. You hate to see an outcome of a game turn that way, but at that point, that was a pretty big couple moments right there. I thought Corey was outstanding. Look, trust that Manny's as good as any right fielder in baseball, a little uncharacteristic. Randy trying to make a play on a ball, makes a good throw. We got to play at the plate, close, just kind of let it go, and 2 runs ended up scoring. Just felt unfortunate for Corey.
And then offensively, I guess 8 guys left on base. It just seemed like you guys left too many missed opportunities out there.
A little bit. I mean, I don't think you can discount the fact that it is Garrett Cole. He's making big pitch after big pitch. We had a couple opportunities, and it seemed like he really did a nice job of picking himself up after. It looked like a throwing error, but reviewed. But Randy got up there, threw a pretty good pitch down in the zone for a double play ball.
I know you can't protest it or anything about it, but how big was that reversal at that moment?
Well, it was big. I mean, out and a runner, we swapped. So it's big. I mean, I'll be curious. I obviously haven't looked at it. I'd be curious what overturned it. Just from the replay, it looked a little surprising, like that they have enough information to overturn it.
Gotcha. And then you still end up with the bases loaded and one out there, and then Randy swings. It looks like at a ball, first pitch, double play.
I mean, look, I don't know how many at bats. They've seen each other a lot. There should be some familiarity there, and I understand Randy. You don't want to fall behind Garrett Cole, but ideally you find a pitch that you can handle.
It's a bad pitch.
A little bit of a chance in the 5th too. 2 on, nobody out. Another case of Cole making pitches, maybe.
I think so.
On the play, when the overthrow, and
Salty cash.
Corey looked like a kind of a shuttle pass to the plate. Was there any play there, you think, or not?
No, I think it was a good job of base running by Gleyber Torres, not assuming anything. And I didn't look up, but it felt like he'd never even missed a beat rounding third base.
I know you said this afternoon, we were asking you about games back and all that. You said you just want to come out and play well. So probably still need to kind of work on that a little bit.
Look, I thought we played well. I mean, we didn't hit, and two plays that we normally convert into outs, or one for sure, we didn't. And that was the outcome of the ball game.
I'm here to tell Kevin Cash that when you scored 0 runs,
Fire Kevin Cash.
I'm just saying though, when you scored 0 runs, you did not play well.
You did not play well.
Let's put that out there right now.
You gave up 2 unearned runs, and you couldn't hit the baseball.
In a tight game like that, like I said, your mistakes are magnified. End of story. You can't make those mistakes. And how many? If you have a lineup that at any night is capable of putting a 0 on the board, for better or worse, I'm not saying it's fair, but you have to play mistake-free baseball.
Right.
And the key to the Rays' success the past few years, and literally for the last 10, 15 years, is largely they've played mistake-free baseball. And they're not doing that too often enough this year. And against the Yankees, you definitely can't afford to do that.
No.
And then also the play, I mean, Gleyber Torres, is he a fast base runner? Yeah. Did he make a good play rounding third and just going? Yeah. But again, Corey Kluber, I'm telling you, if he puts a little bit more effort into that ball, it could have been bang, bang.
Well, and how much of that is Kluber frustrated that he's not getting help defensively and he's not getting help offensively? I mean, maybe he's a little defeated at that point, and he's like, ugh, I mean, are you kidding me? We can't catch a fly ball, and now we can't throw a guy out from short left field. I mean, I'm not saying it I don't know. That to me was not a good look for Corey Kluber. Not a good look. Not a good look. All right, so the Rays lose 2-0. Back on the hill tonight. Shane McClanahan v. Nestor Cortez. Great matchup. I'll be watching hockey as we transition to hockey.
Shane's getting a laptop treatment tonight. I'm not going to disrespect Shane like that.
Getting the laptop?
He's getting a laptop treatment.
Okay. We have George Stoya, I believe is how you say that, from the Denver paper. Going to join us to talk about the Avalanche, give us a little insight into tonight. That's coming up. Well, let's go ahead and take a break. Let's do it right now. We'll take a break. We'll come back on the other side. We'll have George for you. We will chat about the Avalanche, get to know them a little bit better, and kind of see it from another perspective. Stay with us. Quick break.
The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com. Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people about get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. If you have any issues with construction defects, commercial or residential property, he is your man. Whether it's bad stucco work or storm damage, water intrusion, anything like that, if you're dealing with your homeowner's insurance company, you need someone to represent you, and none better than the expert Christopher Palermo, big Lightning fan as well, and he will be your advocate. He knows the deal, and it's a free call. Find out if you have a case. You must have a lot of questions about whether this or that happened. Just give him a call and go to his website, get his contact information, PalermoPA.com. All right, we want to welcome in George Stoia from the Denver Gazette. You can find him on Twitter at George Stoia, S-T-O-I-A, Summer of George, covering the Colorado Avalanche, who have made it to the Stanley Cup Finals to face the 2-time defending champion Tampa Bay Lightning. George, hello, how are you? How was media day yesterday? It looks like you chatted with a lot of the players.
Yeah, it was good. Quite the event. A lot of people in town, obviously, for the game. I know that there's a lot of people from around the world, a lot of different broadcast stations here. So it was good to get to talk to a lot of different guys. Obviously, I think every player was made available. The GM spoke for each team. So to kind of hear these guys talk about it was fun, especially, the Avalanche. This is a goal that they've had the last few years and one that they've obviously fallen short of to get to this point. So to hear their perspective versus obviously Tampa Bay, who's been in this spot the last few years, was interesting to hear for sure.
Yeah. Before we get into the kind of the X's and O's and the matchup, maybe another word on what you touched on there, which I think is very interesting, is so many different broadcast outlets. This is the NHL has really become a global game, much like the NBA. I mean, because, having covered the Lightning the last two and the last one more than the bubble one, obviously, You do. You hear a lot of different languages. There's Swedish being spoken. There's a lot of Russian being spoken. There's a lot of different people from all over the world. Maybe tell me a little bit more about that atmosphere yesterday.
Well, I think part of it is, we're kind of finally getting over the pandemic here.
Right,
and
right.
I think that has obviously opened up a lot of people from around the world to be able to travel here easier than maybe, last year. And obviously the year before that was the bubble. So I think that was part of it, was you're seeing a lot of people being able to get out here without a whole lot of hassle. And obviously the NHL is, I think credentialing more people this year than they probably have the last couple of years.
Yeah,
and
sure.
It's interesting when you look up at the arena here in Denver. Usually they have one section that is auxiliary press conference, or auxiliary press, which
right.
is the overflow of media. There's I think 4 sections up there that are auxiliary, which means they're expecting a few hundred media to be here for the Stanley Cup final, which is just crazy. And yeah, hearing the different languages yesterday, a lot of people from Finland, talking to Arturi Lehkonen of the Avalanche, a lot of Canadians, obviously, Swedish, there's people from all over the world, which is really cool to see, because as someone that typically covers, the NFL here, covering the Broncos, you don't always see that. Obviously the NFL is massive and is global and all that stuff, but to see, Denver become kind of the center for hockey this week, for these first couple games is really cool to see. And I'm sure it'll be very similar in Tampa.
Yeah, it is. It's great to be getting back to normal, and it is indeed a global game, this NHL game, and let's get into that a little bit, and we want to get to know the Avs a little bit more. So from your perspective, first things first, who's going to be in goal? Who do you think is going to be in goal, and who should be in goal in your mind in covering this team?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Darcy Kemper, and I think that's probably the right choice. Darcy hasn't had the greatest playoff run, and I think some of that can be chalked up to obviously getting injured in that Nashville series, taking a stick to the face, and really, his face has been pretty swollen throughout the playoffs until now, and it looks like he's finally 100%. And people forget, at the end of the regular season, Darcy Kemper was one of the better goaltenders in the league. He was having a really good run there to finish the season. Then, he's been a little bit shaky here in the playoffs, but at the end of the day, he is the better goaltender. As much as Pavel Francouz has come in and played well for the Avalanche in the games that he has played. I think he started in 4 games, won 6. I think that he's a guy that is a little bit limited at times. And so I think it's going to end up being Kemper. I think they're going to make that announcement probably this morning, I would guess. Jared Bednar doesn't like to give out those things, but it sounded like yesterday they were going to make a decision this morning. And I'm going to guess it's going to be Darcy Kemper because they've rolled with him all year, and they've rolled with him all playoffs. And I think he gives them the better chance to win. Now, no matter who they play in goal, they're not going to have the better goaltender. Heck, They could probably have 2 goaltenders in goal, and I'm sure I think I would take Tampa's goalie over there. So, but I do think Kemper gives them a better shot in the series if he's in goal.
George Stoia joining us here from the Denver Gazette. I was at Media Day yesterday. Tell me a little bit about the high-scoring Avalanche in terms of 4.64 goals per game, one of the highest in NHL history, and going up against a Lightning team that is locked in their defensive style, which they do to the playoffs. Nobody does it better than the Lightning, and they frustrate other teams. They did it to Toronto. They did it to the Panthers, and you saw with the Rangers what happened to them those final 4 games. What are the concerns of the Avalanche in terms of playing against this style, this defensive shutdown style, and one of the greatest goaltenders, if not the best in the game?
Yeah, I mean, it's a dream matchup, right? When you talk about the Avalanche having the offensive firepower that they have, and McKinnon and Landeskog, Mikko Rantanen, even their bottom 6, I think is some of the best bottom 6 in the league right now. That the depth that they have is just remarkable. And even their defensemen, you talk about Cale Makar, arguably the best defenseman in the league, right up there with Hedman for Tampa Bay. So I think that when you look at that versus what Tampa Bay's been able to do defensively, it's going to be a heck of a matchup. And I think that for the Avalanche, you're obviously going to see McKinnon and Landeskog and those guys are going to score their goals here and there, right? But can Tampa Bay slow down that bottom six? And can the Avalanche, that bottom six, have been able to create some really good opportunities? I mean, JT Compher's really come on the last few games. I think has scored 4 goals in the last, 5 or 6 games, and he's the center for that third line. Can those bottom 2 lines for the Avalanche create opportunities against the Tampa Bay defense that has been lights out, right? And if you're Tampa Bay, can you slow down the Avalanche? And so far, we've seen Tampa Bay be able to do that against everybody they faced. I'm not sure they faced somebody, an offense as good as the Avalanche just yet, but with their experience, with their veterans, Anthony Cirelli, I think, has been really good for them, slowing down teams in the neutral zone. I think you're going to have to see that again. That top line for Tampa Bay has been really good, forechecking and those sort of things. So I really do like Tampa Bay's matchup in this. I kind of give them the edge in this. But again, I think that when you look at the star power that the Avalanche have and Nathan MacKinnon, Gabriel Landeskog, Nichushkin, Cale Makar, those guys, can they overcome that experience and those matchup issues and create some opportunities that we've obviously seen them be able to do in every series so far. But again, they have not faced a defensive test quite like Tampa Bay. So I really actually like Tampa's matchup, like I said earlier, in this. And I think that they're playing some really good hockey right now. And so it's going to be a fun matchup. I think that this is a series that is definitely going to go 6 or 7 games.
I totally agree with everything you said.
And George, we've been talking a lot over here about like John Cooper and Julien Brisebois and getting the credit, I guess, for building this team into what it is. And I think a lot of people forget, because the Avs are such a machine right now. 5 years ago, this team had 48 points in the regular season and had bottomed out. And within 4 years, President's Trophy winner. I think that's the quickest it's ever been done in NHL history. And the theme there is Jared Bednar at coach, Joe Sakic in the front office. Can you kind of just sum it up, what it's been like for the Avs from hitting rock bottom and now becoming this machine so quickly, and now they're in the Stanley Cup here?
Yeah, I think it obviously starts with, 10 years ago, them drafting, Landeskog, I think, 2nd overall. And then the next year they get McKinnon 1st overall. And obviously that sets the foundation, right? And then they go through still a rough period. Those guys were young guys, but then they go out and they get a Cale Makar. They draft Bo Byram a couple years ago, who ends up, being a stud for them on the defensive side. Eric Johnson sticks with the team. They go out and they trade for a Nazem Kadri, who looks like I don't think he'll play this series, but maybe he plays, but obviously has been a huge part of this team and get to this point. They go out and they get veterans this last offseason and Darcy Kemper in goal, and Andrew Cogliano, who another guy who's injured but has played a big role on this team. Arturier Lehkonen, who, you guys faced, Tampa Bay faced in the Cup last year for Montreal. He's been a huge help for them, Nichushkin. So they've gone out and they've got these guys that, we're able to build around those foundational pieces in Landeskog and McKinnon. And while this is obviously their first trip to the Stanley Cup final over the last few years and coming up short and falling short really in that second round and having those issues, I would bet that this group is going to be competing for these type of, championships, in the future. I think that this is a team that, they may or may not win it this year over a Tampa Bay Lightning team that could go down as, one of the best of all time if they can three-peat. But I do think that this is a group that's still relatively young. They've got a lot of guys coming back next season that could, obviously make a run the next few years and maybe even, turn the tide and become a team kind of like the Lightning, where they just need to get into the playoffs and then you better watch out, because they've got the veteran power and obviously the young guys that have been able to contribute, like Cale Makar, Bo Byram, those type of guys that are going to be here long term. So it's definitely been a process for them to build and get to this point. But I think it's all come to fruition this season, especially because they just really haven't had a ton of injuries. I know they've had a couple here recently, but I think that played a big role in them making this run this year, as they finally stayed healthy throughout the playoffs.
George Stoya joining us from the Denver Gazette. Well, let's talk a little bit about Kadri, because he's obviously a huge piece. And not having him is going to be, it's got to affect this team. Tell me how. And you said you don't think he's going to play. I think most people think he's not going to play. So how do they work around that?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of gamesmanship. I know he's been skating the last few days without a stick, and obviously if you can't hold a stick in your hand, you can't play. And so it'll be interesting to see if they keep having him go out there to kind of hint at Tampa Bay, hey, he could come back, but I don't expect him to come back. I mean, he just had surgery on his thumb. I just don't see how he's able to get back on the ice for that. But I think what you'll see is what they did in Game 4 against the Oilers, which is they moved Mikko Rantanen to that center position, which he's comfortable playing. He played a lot during the regular season, and Mikko's been hot lately. He's, I think, scored 4 or 5 goals in the last few games and has played really well. And then obviously they moved Andre Burakovsky up to that second line. And obviously he's a guy that he's played up on the first line and the second line, during the regular season. And for the Avalanche, they've had several guys be hurt this season. Gabriel Landeskog, McKinnon, Kadri's been hurt. So they've shuffled lineups quite a bit during the season. So these guys are pretty familiar skating together. But what you're going to see is Mikko probably play that center position, I would guess, and Burakovsky, slide into Mikko's spot from that third line up to the second line. And it was really effective against the Oilers. So it'll be interesting to see if they can do that again. Obviously, they're going up against a much better defensive team. And so that second line needs to produce like it has all season. And Kadri has been great. I mean, he was fantastic in the playoffs. I think he has, 14 points this postseason, which I want to say is the 5th most on the team right now. So it's a big loss to lose Kadri. And if they can get him back for, let's say it does go, 6 or 7 and he can come back, that would be a huge boost. But on the other side, I mean, it sounds like Tampa is starting to get healthy. Yeah. Braden Point, who I know is one of their best players, if not their best player on the ice. And if he's back and healthy, I think that could be an issue for the Avalanche.
No doubt.
And also there is the 9-day layoff for Colorado, right? And the Lightning had that 9-day day off going into the Rangers series, and you saw how it affected them Game 1 and Game 2, especially Vasilevsky. Colorado, I guess, a little different. They've only played 14 games throughout the first 3 rounds, which is remarkable. They're already really rested. Do you think that layoff, they show any effects tonight, or do you think it still plays into their advantage?
Yeah, I think it plays a little bit into their advantage. I will say I think they were happy to get it started on Wednesday. I think that they were ready to go. They were itching to go. We saw some really physical practices. I mean, they went full 5-on-5, I think on Friday or Saturday this last week, which was interesting to see. You don't often see that in the postseason, but Bednar said that they really have been ramping it up. And they've given some of those older guys, Landeskog, McKinnon, some maintenance days where they're not out on the ice. So that's good to get those guys some rest. But, they've been practicing really hard, and I think that they've been itching to get, the Stanley Cup final going, because they kind of had a similar layoff there after the first round when they faced the Blues there in the second round, and they kind of struggled there to start that series. And I think that they saw that and kind of adjusted their schedule this time with the layoff. So I think they're excited to get going. And I do think, I don't know if you guys are going to ask for my prediction. I think the Avalanche win tonight. Okay. I think they take Game 1. But I do think Tampa Bay is going to win this series either in 6 or 7 games.
I was going to say the Lightning win tonight. The Avs win Game 2 and the Lightning win in 6. So at least we're on the same page in that. I don't know if, obviously the Avs have not been to this level. It just, we've watched the Lightning grow up and take these steps, going back to 2015 and losing in the Cup final and then getting swept by Columbus. It's a process. And, I don't know if the Avs have gone through that. And you've seen them play all through these playoffs. They haven't faced, the best goaltenders in the world. They haven't faced the best of the best. So I think this is going to be a step up in class for them, especially tonight. And having sat that long and watch how bad the Lightning played against the Rangers in the first 2 games. And it is a trend. If you go back and look at the trends, teams that have 7, 8, 9 days off going against a team that's just played a 7-game series, they lose every time. I think the number is 7-0. It matters. It really matters. You lose your timing. You lose your legs a little bit. You just can't simulate playoff hockey. But as the series goes on, it favors the team that has been rested. We saw that with the Lightning and the Rangers. So the Avs have that to look forward to. But I would agree with you. Hey, last question for you, George, and thanks so much for your time. Ticket prices, I'm hearing, in Denver are just ridiculous. Has there been any pushback from the fans, or they're just so happy to be in the finals that it just doesn't matter?
Oh, there's definitely been some pushback. It's interesting. I like I said earlier, I actually cover the Broncos for the most part, and I've helped over with the Avalanche. Right. As we're looking for a new writer there. But I was over at Broncos practice the other day, and Russell Wilson said he was going to be in town and obviously go to the game on Wednesday, and fans weren't too happy about that. They said, leave some tickets for the rest of us, and only people like Russell Wilson, celebrities, can get into the game. So yeah, I mean, tickets from what I've heard is $800,000 because some of my buddies here have been asking me, can I get them?
Oh God, yeah.
You're asking the wrong guy. I said I'm lucky to be credentialed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy out here. It'll be interesting to see what the crowd looks like because the Avalanche have a really good fan base, and they've showed up for the playoffs so far. But tonight it's gonna be really interesting to see what it looks like. And I know they're building a big outdoor area where fans that can't get into the game can go watch out there. But it's going to be interesting to see what that crowd looks like. And like I said, I mean, 4 or 5 sections up there in the top part of the arena are going to be all media. So it's going to be an interesting look for sure.
Yeah, wait till the fans see all those seats taken by the media. Then they're going to definitely lose it.
Exactly.
Hey, George, once again, at George Stoia, that's George Georgestoia, a Summer of George on Twitter. Follow him for all the great coverage there from the Denver Gazette. Thanks, George. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Good stuff there. We got to know the Avs a lot better there.
Yeah.
Really good.
The point about the ticket prices, I saw this yesterday. It's the highest average of a ticket price for the Stanley Cup Final since 2010.
And that's in Denver.
Yeah, and this is in Denver. And I kind of thought that was crazy because 2010, that was Philadelphia and Chicago, if you remember. Obviously, 2 huge hockey markets.
Right.
This is Tampa Bay and Denver. They're crying out loud.
Yeah.
And here we are with the highest average ticket prices. So what does that tell you?
Well, they're much lower in Tampa than they are there.
Yeah.
Their uppers look like they're going for $900 to $1,000 a piece, and the uppers in Tampa are come down. The resale at first was about $800, and now they've come down to I think high fives.
Yeah.
So,
and it's a long time since they've last been in the cup. It was 2001, I believe.
Yeah.
Which was, if you remember, the Ray Bork, one of the greatest moments.
Yeah.
In Stanley Cup history.
Yeah.
Was seeing him lift the cup. The great call from Gary Thorne.
Yeah.
And we're probably going to get that documentary, I think, during this final.
I would think. Yeah, the Avs and the
Avs and Red Wings.
Red Wings. Yeah, I cannot wait to see that. We talked about the trailer. If you haven't seen a trailer on that, what's it called? Just Google Avs Red Wings 30 for 30, and it'll come up. I mean, it's all the guys are like in their 60s now, and they all have noses that start right and end left, and no teeth. And it just
they still hate each other.
They still hate each other. Like, you could feel the hate. Unrivaled. Yeah. That's Well, I can't wait to watch that. And I was going to ask him about this, but we didn't get to it. Nobody's really talking about the physicality factor in this series. Nobody's really talking about that because there's no bad blood between these teams yet.
There always will be.
It only takes one hit. It only takes one hit. One hit that you think is dirty or one team thinks it's dirty. And they'll be, I think, from a physical, I think the Lightning are going to try to throw it around a little bit. Now, I don't think they're going to get caught up in all of it, but it's a big part of their game now and has been since they started this cup run. And I don't know if the Avs are considered a very physical team, are they?
No, I wouldn't say. I mean, I've been making a point to say the defensive wise, we forget how big the Lightning are back there, and they have some bruisers, some guys who, and they know the price it takes to win a Stanley Cup. They're all throwing their body out in harm's way. McDonough, Chernak, Sergachev, Bogosian, they're all doing it. Hedman's been doing it, for crying out loud. So that's, to me, the biggest interesting thing is, like, Colorado, they have the skill players on the back end. I mean, if I'm telling you, Lightning fans, if you haven't paid attention much, Cale Makar is a treat.
Yeah.
This is McDavid on defense.
Yeah.
He's an absolute treat. Not enough words to really describe his play, so just watch. You'll understand. But they have some young guys like Bowen Bryan, like he mentioned back there, who hasn't had a lot of experience in the Stanley Cup final, or the Stanley Cup playoffs, rather. Eric Johnson and Jack Johnson are having to play because Sam Girard got hurt, one of their better defenders. So I think they're a little banged up back there as well, and I think that's something the Lightning can take advantage of. And of course, you gotta, like every series, you gotta stay out of the penalty box, because I don't think you want to see this team passing around on a power play with the big guys they have up front. I don't think you want to see it.
I was watching The Point yesterday, live from Colorado, and Cooper had Stamkos on for a large portion of it. Then Cooper comes in and brings the chicken parm, and literally, they didn't have any utensils. He literally picks up the chicken parm with his hand, like the hunk of chicken, Coop, with the hunk of chicken, and like takes a bite of it, like just no fork, no knife. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. He don't care.
Let me taste this stuff. Let me grab some chicken parm here. He went all in, like hands and everything. I'm like, go, man. And didn't get to say much on the dais at all. He kind of ended the show. He's like, yeah, this is the only way I can get on the point is finally bring you guys some food. That's about it.
Where was that? Was it yesterday?
Yesterday's point, yeah.
Where was it on?
On ESPN at 5 o'clock. From 5 to 6, ESPN2, I think it was on. I was just doing some work around the house, getting ready to go to Coldplay, and I'm like, oh, the point's on, because it's never on at a certain time.
Yeah.
It's the 17 NBA preview shows, and then they'll stick it in for an hour, or half hour, wherever they can.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. But it was great. Melrose, it was a little bit awkward. Melrose and Stamkos on the dais.
Ooh. And
Melrose never really, he didn't like, it was Bucci and Kevin Weeks were asking most of the questions. Wasn't a whole lot of interaction between Stammer and Melrose. Is that still a thing?
I mean, turning points in this franchise had to have been, Barry Melrose lasted, 18 games here? I think it was 18.
Yeah.
Turning points in this franchise was understanding a mistake 18 games in and saying, we have Steven Stamkos. We cannot let him get ruined by Barry Melrose. I'm sure Melrose regrets it to this day, and Stamkos is still probably like, F you, bro. Like,
I don't know.
I don't know.
That was a weird time. That was when the Cowboys, when Koulis and who was the Vancouver guy, the real estate guy, who was his old real estate development turned out to be a big fraud scam.
I know that.
Yeah. Well, there was some rumors going around that because Melrose invested in that big scam, that real estate scam, or I don't know if it was a scam as much. That was after 08 and 09, everything, the bottom dropped out, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, it was a disaster financially. And I think Melrose lost a lot of money in that development. And part of the scuttlebutt was the way to pay him back was to give him a contract, and then maybe he doesn't really coach a long time.
18 games?
18 games.
Has anybody ever lasted shorter than that? 18 games?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
That's something.
And then the fact that him saying, well, I guess the quote was like, he's not ready for the NHL or something.
Yeah,
like
he wanted him to start in the minors.
Yeah.
And remember there was all that talk of they're going to just send him down to the minors.
No.
Like at the time, it was like.
Seeing Stamkos, not in the minors.
Not in the minors.
Not in the minors now. Not going to play for Syracuse or I don't know. Norfolk at the time. Yeah. Yeah. So that was a tiny bit awkward.
Was Torts on there? I was curious. Is Torts on there?
Torts was not. Torts was
you
not.
hear the reports about Torts, right?
Where's he going?
He's been offered the Philadelphia job.
Oh, wow.
You want to talk about pure entertainment.
Or Boston.
Philadelphia's worse.
Who's Boston hiring?
But I don't know. But Bruce
Cassidy's
Cassidy
going in the
went to
Knights.
Vegas. He was available for all of 6 days.
Yeah, we knew that.
We figured that would happen.
Yeah,
so he's off the board. But
yep.
Trotz, Torts still out there. But Torts, yeah, it looks like he's going to Philadelphia. Does that seem like there's no way that's working out?
No,
I
disagree.
Now.
Like that's a match made in heaven.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
For entertainment purposes, because imagine Torts with the media there. I mean, that's all that it's worth.
Yeah, but it's he's a Philly kind of guy though. Gruff.
Oh, I don't know.
He gruff. He did tell Philly to shut their yap. The famous shut your yap. That was directed at the Philly at the coach and the Flyers and the fans. Shut your yap. They're gonna bring that back. I think Philly would love Torts. I mean, how about Torts and the Flyers coming here? Playing Tampa, yeah.
I want to see Torts get fired up again because on the point he's been a little bit mellowed out.
Oh yeah, he's
been super mellowed out.
He's not a broadcaster.
I think they expected him coming in. And they were like, yeah, he's going to be very opinionated.
No,
you didn't get that Torts. So
no, he's not comfortable in that setting. That's just
you
not
can
him.
see it.
He's just not comfortable. He's not. He's a coach. He's not a broadcaster. He's a freaking coach. Let him coach.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to shift gears. Doug Wechter's going to join us. We're going to talk some Rays baseball, and hopefully he'll be able to tell us how the hell the Rays are doing this, playing their. I think they're now at their C- game as far as how good they can play, which is good. If you win in this many games and you're C-, the future is bright, I guess, or it's all going to collapse. One of the two. Stay with us. Quick break, Doug. Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in?
but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP.
I think.
$294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. Our second hour brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Christopher Lugo and his medical team will take great care of you. Testosterone replacement therapy. If you want to lose weight, they've got great programs for that as well. Get your immune system back to where it should be. They can do it all with modern medicine. That's why they call it Bay Area Modern Medicine Center, BAMMC.com, and tell them JP sent you. All right, let's welcome in our good friend from Bally Sports Sun, former Rays pitcher, the great Doug Wechter. What's up, partner? Emmy Award winning. I got to throw that in every time now. Emmy Award winning Doug Wechter.
Yeah. I love your introductions, man. I'm feeling better and better about myself every time.
There
I
you
come
go.
on air with you,
Absolutely, man. So we haven't chatted in a while. And you got to unlock the mystery for me, man, because basically right now the Rays can't hit. They're second in the league in unearned runs. They can't run the bases. How the hell are they 9 games over 500, bro? I don't know how can they sustain this. Does this mean they're playing their C- game and they're going to explode, or or it's all going to come crumbling down.
No, that's exactly what it means. It means that they are essentially still one of the top teams in the division, and they're doing it, without their two best weapons on offense. Right? You start right there. I mean, Wander Franco, Brandon Lau is out. Zanino, even when he was in there, wasn't having the same year he did last year. And, what he means defensively to this club is huge. So he's out. They're just they're getting by, right? They're getting by with some extremely strong pitching.
Yeah.
The starting rotation is probably the best I've seen in years. I mean, we got McClanahan, the true ace. Corey Kluber is continuing to throw the ball really well. Even, later on in his career, he's still out there throwing 6 innings of, 0 earned runs at least. I know he gave up a couple runs, but 0 earned runs yesterday against the Yankees in New York, which we all know is, that's the best team in the league right now with the best offense, and to shut them down at home, that's nice. Rasmussen, Springs, this rotation is really the reason they're winning, this rotation in the bullpen. And they're doing it without their best bullpen arms. They're doing it without their best offense. And they're not playing defense right now either. And, we're just all waiting for them to start clicking, because when they do, if they're doing it this well with, as you called, a C minus, wait till they get to at least a B plus, A minus. They're going to be rolling.
And I guess the question is, are they going to get there? If hopefully Wander Franco comes back and is healthy, and and I know he mentioned something about the Tropicana field turf, which isn't changing anytime soon in the next 3 years. Is that going to be an issue for Wander? Or hopefully he'll just come back and after this rest and just be ready to go.
Well, you hope it's not. Look, this is the first time, and typically for any major leaguer, young guy coming up, this is going to be the first time they're really consistently playing on turf. There's no fields in the minor leagues that at least the Rays have that are turf fields. So, these guys haven't had to adjust or don't adjust to that surface until they get to Tropicana and play on it every day.
Right.
So you would think there's a little bit of a grace period to where your body has to figure it out.
Yeah.
And figure out how
sense.
to play off that turf and feel off that turf. So hopefully Wander will get used to it, and it won't be an issue moving forward, because he's not going anywhere.
Right.
Neither is the turf. So, we're hoping that's not an issue. We just got to get this guy healthy, man. This is a Gold Glove shortstop that can hit from both sides of the plate and is a matchup nightmare. You have to get this guy back, and he has to be 100%.
And do you see anybody coming up soon? We've been talking about Josh Lowe maybe coming back up. There's Randa at AAA to juice this offense in the meantime, or are we just going to wait for Franco and Lau to come back?
Yeah, look, that's kind of what they're waiting for. They're in a holding pattern, waiting for some guys to get healthy. But Josh Lowe would be the first guy that you would think of when you're dipping into the minor league system that has a potential to stay and has potential to actually stick around and do some really good things for the offense. There's a reason that they traded Austin Meadows in the offseason.
Right.
And it is primarily to get Josh Lowe some at-bats and consistent playing time in the big leagues. And, hasn't been able to do that yet, hasn't settled into Tampa yet, but they're really hopeful that that'll happen. And, look, we've all seen the averages and the struggles that are going on with the Rays. And we know what this kid has potentially. There is some hesitation on the swing. Some people are saying that he still is struggling to get to velocity, which can be exposed pretty quickly when you get to the big leagues. And I know they're trying to work on some of those things at the minor league level, so it'll get ironed out prior to coming back up. But aside from that, look, this is a guy who can really walk right in and be one of the best defenders outfield-wise, or a top defender in the big leagues. Everybody loves his speed. They love his ability to run routes. There's a lot of good things about this kid. As soon as he can get consistent with the bat, I think we'll be seeing them.
And speaking of young guys needing to step up, I'm looking at like Vidal Brujan, who the adjustment to major league pitching, similar like Josh Lowe and Isaac Paredes and some of the other guys, it's obviously difficult, right? It's all new, but I think 5 hits now in his last 5 games, a few RBIs. He got his first career homer. Do you see like he's starting to get comfortable a little bit and he could start to contribute here into June and July?
Yeah, I think that's a good word for it. I think we haven't seen Brujan comfortable yet. We keep hearing about the skill set that he has and what he can do, and we've seen him flash some really good defense, when he's had to fill in for Franco at shortstop. We've seen him flash some speed on the bases. He can move around. He can run the bases well. He's a switch hitter who we hear a lot of good things about, but we haven't seen a lot of consistency. And I think, a lot of that is because he's not real comfortable yet at the major league level. It does take a lot of guys, and I'd say the majority of guys, it takes them a little bit to get comfortable. I mean, this is something that they fought hard for to be a part of a major league club their entire life. And then all of a sudden you're thrust into the environment that you're trying to get as relaxed, as comfortable as possible. And meanwhile, you're facing the best pitching in the world. You're going to the best stadiums in the world, playing on TV every night, playing for a lot more money. I mean, there's a lot of things that are thrown at you all at once that you have to just handle and be able to go out on the field and perform. And I think, now that Brujan's been in the big leagues for a little while, he's been sticking around, he's been getting consistent at bats. I think now we're seeing a side of him that, he's a little more patient at the plate, which that shows you how much more relaxed he is. Because usually when a hitter's up there and he's anxious, he's swinging really early. He's not looking for his pitch. He's just trying not to strike out. And we saw that from Brujan early, but I think what he's doing now is a little more patient. He's starting to drive the ball.
Doug Wechter joining us here, Bally Sports Sun. How good are the Yankees? I mean, the numbers they're putting up are ridiculous. Obviously, the Rays don't fear them at all, and last night was just kind of a sloppy game for the Rays in terms of allowing a couple of unearned runs on some very uncharacteristic plays. And Kluber not really backing up the plate very well. Just a couple of moments in that game. I mean, the offense was just bad. They didn't have a chance to score. But, I mean, is this Yankees team, they're 9-10 games up on the Rays already? You're getting to a point where I don't know if you can catch them. But how good do you think this team is?
Well, I mean, on paper, they're the best team in the big leagues. Yeah. I mean, you look at the numbers, you really dive into some of these numbers. The run differential going into the season, the Yankees were plus 127. And just to put that in perspective, the next best team was the LA Dodgers, and they were plus 102. So what that basically means is they're scoring more runs than everyone. They're outscoring everybody. They had, I think, over 300 runs scored, which is by far the most in the big leagues. But they had the least amount of runs given up also. They're basically going out there, they're, offensively. They got Aaron Judge, who's the best hitter in the league right now, and he's just continuing to put up numbers. But then you look defensively, they're not making a lot of mistakes.
Right.
And, pitching-wise, this is the best I've ever seen their staff.
Yep.
They got 5 guys in the rotation. All of them have, I want to say, 4 or more wins. Garrett Cole just got his 6th win last night, and he's arguably not even their ace right now. I mean, their ace might be the guy going tonight, Nestor Cortez.
Exactly.
Who has been pretty much unhittable. I mean, this is a guy who kind of came out of nowhere and, threw a little bit out of the bullpen, was a bulk arm last year, and now kind of erupted on the scene, and he hasn't looked back. And, this is a team that is doing everything well. Pitching, hitting, defense. I mean, every aspect of the game, they're playing well. And not to mention, they're playing in Yankee Stadium half these games where, the lineup's built to drive the ball and miss-hit balls out of the park there. So, it's kind of it's one of those things where I don't know if they're going to sustain this momentum that they've built up already, being that many games in front and first place. But I don't see where they're going to slow down either, because the skill set's there all around and they're all healthy. So they're clicking in the right direction and they're tough to beat.
Yeah, they are tough to beat. But I mentioned earlier, I mean, they played 5 games against the Rays, and I think they're only up like 2 on the run differential. So to be honest, the Rays have played the Yankees better than
they always do.
Maybe anybody in the league. So, and that's with injuries and sloppy play here and there. So I think that's good. But tonight, obviously, Shane McClanahan's on the mound, and I think he's become must-watch television, honestly. And when he's pitching at home, I think that's a game everybody should circle on their calendar, go to the ballpark, watch Shane McClanahan pitch. I'm going to be watching him tonight for sure. But he got to this point kind of quick, I'd say, in Major League. Can you kind of speak to that development of becoming, in my opinion, maybe the guy that should start the All-Star game?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. He should definitely be in the running. I mean, if you were going to vote for Cy Young's right now, he would be right there at the top of the list, or right at the 1 or 2. I think he is the best left-hander, at least in the game right now, the way he's been throwing the ball. This is a kid who last year was kind of thrust into the number 1 role. right? You know, Tyler Glass now goes down. They got to have somebody step up. And Shane McClanahan was the guy who stepped up, wanted the ball in that role. And, you know, he has the confidence. He just needed the skill set behind it. We knew he was a little bit raw coming up to the big leagues, the power stuff, but it would need to be just a little bit more refined to be consistent. And that's what he's done. He has refined his routine to the point where he has 4 pitches, and they're all plus pitches, right? They're 4 wipeout pitches, but this is a guy who, if he just had the stuff, he wouldn't be at the top of the rotation. He'd be a really good pitcher. The reason he's at the top of the rotation, the reason he's talked about as a Cy Young candidate, potentially starting an All-Star game, is because he throws them all for strikes. I mean, this is a guy who can fall behind 1-0 with a 98-mile-an-hour fastball and then flip you a changeup behind an account and get a quick out.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something that he did not have last year, right? He had the ability. He always was a strike thrower, but now he's commanding the zone, right? He's going inside the strike zone and putting the ball where he wants to. He's not just throwing it down the middle. And because he's doing that, he's at an elite level, and he's gotten there a lot faster than really I anticipated or really anybody anticipated. I mean, to be able to put your skill set together physically is one thing, but to be able to handle the stress and everything and the pressure that he does mentally and go up against the other team's number one every time out and to outpitch them, it's pretty special what we're seeing McClanahan do. And, you know, hopefully he can keep this up throughout the year because he should absolutely be in contention for the Cy Young.
No doubt. No doubt. All right. Before we go, I got to ask you, can you sport a mustache like Matt Carpenter? Can you grow one of those for like, you know, I don't know, playoffs or something like that, or summertime? That's impressive.
Dude, the closest I've ever been to a Carpenter mustache is when I was Magnum PI a couple of years ago for Halloween, which was honestly, it was one of my best outfits. I had the chest hair, I had an open Hawaiian shirt.
Can we reprise that in your Twitter? Hat. Can I see that picture back on Twitter? Just say JP asked to see this because I asked about the Matt Carpenter stash. So I want to see your Tom Selleck Magnum PI stash.
I'm gonna have to go into the archives and see if I can find that picture. If I can find it, I'll post it. I'll tag you on it, buddy.
All right, I'll tell you, and I'll count.
But that's all I got. And you know, after a couple drinks, that thing falls right off. And so, you know, Carpenter definitely has me beat in the facial hair.
All right. Well, okay. Was that a stick-on mustache for Halloween, or did you grow it?
No. Stick on, baby.
Okay.
I can't.
So you can't
the
grow
only
a
thing I
stash
can
like
grow
that.
is that little Abe Lincoln chin strap. You know,
I like
right
that
on
though.
The chin. That's
kind of
all I got. But that's all I got, man. I got my facial hair is subpar.
But I like that. It's trendy. It's edgy, man, and it goes with your personality. So I love it. I think it's perfect for you. But I didn't know. But that stash, I don't know what kind of power he's got in that stash, but he's come out of nowhere, and just what the Yankees needed. A low price guy like that can just hit home runs into right field. Yeah. Whatever. All right, partner. We'll see you tonight on pregame. Who's working tonight? You?
Yep, I'm on it. Me and Richie are on it. We're going to be leading everybody into the big showdown between two top left-handers in the game.
Whoa, gonna be fun. All right, buddy. Thanks for your time as always. Really appreciate it, Doug. Thanks.
All right, boys. I'll talk to you soon.
The best. Then we even spared you our Coldplay conversation. We had that off air, so he was lamenting not going to the Coldplay concert.
Coldplay is so mid. It's so mid. Like I'm gonna be disrespectful, I guess. It's so mid.
Yeah.
Like there's like certain types of rock. Obviously, there's like butt rock and like what do you even call that type of rock?
Butt rock?
Yeah, butt rock, yacht rock, all that kind of.
What
weird
is
stuff.
butt rock?
Butt rock?
I've never heard the term butt rock.
I mean, I've just kind of heard the term. I'm not an aficionado on the term.
What is butt rock?
I've heard the terms. I'm not going to describe the
so
terms.
my 19-year-old musical aficionado going to Belmont, the best music school in America, she loves Coldplay, and she has an ear for great music and great lyrics and great edgy. They're very innovative. They always have been. From the very beginning, it was a different sound that now everybody's copied. Look at that. She just texted me. I sent her some videos. Amazing. Oh, my God. So jelly. This is a 19-year-old about Coldplay who is a music student and and has one of the greatest musical ears ever. That's my daughter, Shay.
So Coldplay crosses all generations.
Listen, I'm not gonna.
All generations were there.
I'm not gonna question Shay's aptitude for music.
Well, there you go.
I'm not going to. I'm gonna question your aptitude for music.
Well, you're coming at me with yacht rock and butt rock.
I'm gonna type butt rock into Google right now.
No.
And see what comes up. Stand by.
Yeah, I don't know what group that might be.
Butt rock is a subgenre of rock and roll, hard rock music that is. Yada yada yada. Butt rock peaked in 2005. Nickelback is like that's butt rock. There you go.
So ass rock is what you're.
Butt rock. All right, Nickelback, Creed, all that kind of stuff.
I thought that was grunge.
Yeah, they call it kind of grunge.
Yeah,
but it's butt rock. That's the name, and then you have your yacht rock, like you Jimmy Buffett parrot head mother. I hate all of you.
I love the old Jimmy. Jimmy Buffett has become like such a cliche now at this point. And if you go, I went to my last Jimmy Buffett concert, probably barring the one the special appearance that he did for the Rays game down in Havana, which was amazing, by the way, like 10 feet away from him. He was awesome. But like the parrot head thing now, you go to his concert and I don't want to see 80-year-olds in swimsuits. I just, and flip-flop.
Those are the people that wear Speedos on the beach.
I
They're
know.
80 years old. They
No,
listen to
they're
Jimmy
not.
Buffett.
Jimmy Buffett, the parrot heads do not wear Speedos. That's a lie. That's awful. You would say that. I can't believe you would say that. No.
They wear Hawaiian shirts.
Tacky Hawaiian shirts.
Tommy
Yes.
Bahama. Oh,
yeah. You can do worse. You can do worse.
No, there's nothing worse than that.
You can do worse than that.
There's nothing worse than that.
But the old school Jimmy, with Jimmy Buffett back in the 80s and 90s and those concerts, when that was cool. That was good stuff. As it got into the aughts, and now it's just like it's the Grateful Dead with palm trees. It's yeah. I can't. And they charge like $500 a ticket, which is just bananas.
I have great aptitude for music as well. You got to know that firsthand over this weekend at our charity golf tournament.
Right.
I had you play some of my hits on your little your stereo.
I was surprised. You're kind of a twanger. You're kind of a country twanger.
I am a country twanger.
Yeah. Like I'm not a huge twanger fan. Although I do like John Pardee, I think is the modern day twanger that I think
he blends it well.
He really does. He gives a modern day, it's kind of a mix of a Luke Bryan and a Hank Jr.
Don't tell him.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of pop in it, but it's got some old twangy. It's a good mix.
It's a good mix. But I played you Mike and the Moon Pies. Shout out Mike and the Moon Pies, by the way. The greatest band on the face of the earth right now. And the twang,
that's a meh.
You listen to that, and it sounds like you're in a foggy bar.
Yeah.
And here comes Mike and the Moon Pies.
Yeah,
That's what I love.
It's like it's honky tonk.
Yeah,
it's old honky tonk.
That's what I love.
Yeah, that's it. It's okay. I was a little surprised that you're an old honky tonker.
I'm an old soul at heart.
Yeah, you are. But I liked Mike and the Moon Pies. It's good. I'm not only gonna, I'm not traveling the world following them. That's for sure.
I'm traveling. Yeah. I might go to their first Opry appearance.
And it was your other one is Jamie Johnson.
Jamie Johnson. Yes.
Yeah, I like him. He's got a really distinct voice.
He was Stapleton before Stapleton.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Now you told me an interesting story about him. He had a car wreck and he
had some kind of accident years ago, and because of that, he hasn't been able to really write. He lost his creativity to write music, but he still performs like the Opry and other shows as well.
Yeah.
So kind of his catalog, what you have is what you have, but I think it's A+. One of the best beards I've ever seen too.
To me, concerts and music in general, if you really want to get into an in-depth conversation about music, which why not? To me, music, it's interesting to me how music can move your soul.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about it, as human beings, how did music develop and how it literally can change your body chemistry. It changes your mood. It changes your emotion. If you watch, you watch anything on a movie screen and you take away the music and then add the music back in, you can see what a huge difference it makes. So how the sound of music can affect your emotional being as a human being, I think is a fascinating discussion, first and foremost. And then going into a live venue, and this is where concerts are so awesome for me. If you know the music and you know the meaning to the songs, and it moves you, and you can't describe, just why do you like this band? Why do you like that? I don't know. It just moves me. It speaks to me. Yeah. And then when you can add a great performer like Chris Martin last night in Coldplay and his entire band. Musically, they are as tight and as talented a band as you'll see anywhere in live performance. I mean, they are virtuosos, every single one of them. And then you add the venue and a huge stadium. Like, to me, I love intimate shows as well. They're fantastic. But to me, there's something special about a stadium tour. It's like, it can be epic, it can be iconic, it can be it's like, remember that tour. This to me was epic. Again, a little bit too political for me, but just the sounds, the music itself, the reproduction of the music, and Ray J's sound system, by the way, is as good a stadium sound system as you'll get. It's really, really good. It used to be horrible, and now it's really, really good. And just the whole setup, they had, instead of big flat square screens, they had a big round screen, which is interesting. And then the light show with the bracelets all around, lighting it up. And it was just so good. It was a perfect mix of emotion, of lyrics, of sound, and of sight. It just touched every one of your senses to the nth degree. And I just literally found myself jumping up and down like a school kid, man. Like I was back in college. And then the moment where he said, "Everybody just put your phones away and just get into this song." What song was it now? I was having such a good time. Anyway, Stars, I think it was. Stars. Yeah. And it was a magical moment. Just looking around at the sheer size and 60,000 people screaming and knowing every note and knowing every word and singing for him and with him. It was magical. It really was.
When I go to concerts, I don't think I touch my phone, really. I might take my video picture before.
Yeah.
Maybe one during. But other than that, you kind of get lost in the moment. Like, I mean, you said stadium.
It's better. Better.
I saw Garth Brooks 3 years ago at the Swamp. And it was like the first concert at the Swamp in like forever.
Yeah.
So it was like a big deal. And that's a monumental moment I'll never forget, right?
Yeah, it's epic.
And you're there with 85. I think they put 85,000 people in the Swamp.
Yeah.
Everybody, is singing along. And, drunk out of their mind, whatever. And it just has that different feel to it.
Right.
And you understand why
it's like almost like a football game, but it's just different.
I think music is actually the true unifier.
Yeah.
More so than sports.
Yes.
Because
well
when you,
said.
Because when you go to sports, there's always two sides of people.
Right.
And there's always idiots that want to fight and take it too serious, like last week. You go to a music concert, it's just everybody having a good time.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. Certain genres could be excluded in that. Yeah. It's just, everybody was having a good time last night, and there was such a joyous feeling, and a lot of it is what he talks a lot on stage, and a lot of it is it's great. I mean, it's Save the Planet. It's there's people on bikes in the back creating energy for the stage, and the kinetic floors, people dancing, and that creates energy. The powers this, maybe one guitar.
I'm proud of you, though. You didn't come on here and say, "Yeah, I'm boycotting them now," because some people. There are some people out there who are that upset with their lives.
Everybody wants to save the planet, but let's do it in a sensible way. Let's just don't go, "All right, everybody go get an electric car." Woo! It doesn't work that way, man. You have infrastructure. You have to do it over time. Just not like all of a sudden shut down oil production and everybody go get an electric car. Woo! Yeah, that doesn't really work. It's not a really sensible way to do things. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, of course, who doesn't want to save the planet? Who doesn't want to? I do my part. I don't drive a big F-250 as a one dude running. I mean, yeah, I don't. I drive a very economical BMW sports coupe crossover that gets 35 miles to the gallon. So, I mean, I'm doing my part.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I'm doing my part. Everybody's, why don't you get a truck, man? You're more of a truck. I don't need a truck. What the hell am I see people running around with trucks. What do you don't need a truck, dude. I mean, seriously. I saw a guy the other day. Got this big old lifted truck. It pulls up behind me after I parked, and he's like, this huge freaking truck behind me. And I'm like, dude, he's getting up close to my bumper. And like he's some badass. He's looking out over he gets out of the truck, and he's got to use the step. And he's like 5'3". He have to use the baby step to get out of the truck. Like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you compensating for?
You You know what he's compensating for.
I mean, like, you got to use the baby step to get out of your truck? How embarrassing is that? Whatever. No. So I do my part to save the planet.
You use plastic or paper straws?
I
hate paper straws.
No. I'll just forego the straw if you're going to give me a paper straw.
At that point.
Is there anything worse than a soggy paper straw as you're trying to drink your drink?
Oh,
do not hand me that paper.
I cannot stand paper straws.
Yeah, get rid of this plastic straws. I'm all for that.
That is the worst invention and one of the worst inventions of mankind. The second being, and this might have to do with the planet, by the way, I don't know, is the automatic soap dispensers and water dispensers.
Yeah.
The automatics, awful. Awful.
How about that embarrassing moment where you're in a crowded bathroom and you're trying to get the hands-free thing to work, and it's not working. You're like doing this magical thing, like running your hand all over the freaking faucet. Like, is it here? Is it there? People are like, what are you doing, bro? And it's broken. It's not working. The sensor's not working. And you look like you're doing some kind of magical.
That's that freaking Raymond James, man.
Yeah.
They need to go fix those back. They don't work. They never work.
I sometimes think there's somebody like watching, like,
they're
watch this dude. try to figure out where the water's coming from. Stop it.
All right. Well, this show's officially off the rails.
Yeah, it's totally off the rails.
We had a music conversation.
We did. It was good.
We saved the planet.
Paul Wilson
Paul
Wilson says he loves when we get into these discussions. So he's a great media critic.
You got to break it up.
You got to break it up. So I said I'm probably not the best choice to do the Coldplay review at the top of the show, but we did it anyway. And then I think it was a great discussion about music. One of our finer segments, if you ask me. All right, we'll take a break. What else we got to get to? Oh, we got to get to the Cooper Sound. We got Cooper Sound. We got Stamco Sound Point, Killorn, all those guys coming up to talk about tonight's big game one of the Stanley Cup Finals. Where are you watching the game? Oh, Thunder Alley?
No, I will be at home.
Oh,
I'm boring.
Okay.
I like being just home.
Oh, we'll get you to
Some
Thunder
wings.
Alley. Stay with us. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new, healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Italiano Insurance has been serving and working in our community for over 60 years, and it's not just about insuring all the pieces of your life. Italiano is as much a part of Tampa Bay as the Cuban sandwich, Gasparilla, and our Bucks, Lightning, and Rays. They're also active supporters of great charities like the Humane Society, Metropolitan Ministries, and local pediatric cancer centers. Hey, we all need insurance, so do business with a local company with a commitment to our community. Don't call some 1-800 number. Call Italiano and be greeted by one of your neighbors. That's 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Named the Small Business of the Year by the Tampa Chamber. 813-877-7799. Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center. If you're looking for a new primary care physician, Christopher Lugo and his medical team will take good care of you, spend lots of time with you, testosterone replacement therapy, weight loss, immune system, all those things. They're using modern techniques to get you to your optimal health. He works with our top pilots in the military, and he can work with you as well and share that great information. BAMMC.com is the website. You can get all their contact information right there, and please tell them JP sent you. I'm seeing a lot of chatter on USF about their new stadium. Evidently, they held some type of press briefing today on the new indoor facility. Some nice pictures of that, what it's going to look like. And
I think they confirmed 35,000 seats stadium.
Yeah, 35,000 seat stadium. Yeah, and I was talking to Michael Kelly the other day, their athletic director at the Tampa Sports Club banquet. And he's like, yeah, man, we're moving along. Probably by 2026, he thinks they'll be ready to play.
Oh, but 2026?
I said before the Rays there was stadium. He goes, yeah.
2026. Let's
see.
Well, by that time, UCF will be in the Big college 12 football playoff.
I don't think so.
Fresh off becoming the king of the crop in the state of Florida.
Well, now the Big 12 without Texas and Oklahoma, they could probably win it. That's like the Metro now. The old Metro Conference.
Hey, whatever works, right? It's still Power 5.
Still Power.
Glossed over that
Power
last week.
5.
June. Yeah. Mark your calendars, folks. Marks. July 1st, 2023.
What is that?
UCF going straight into the Big 12. So one more year of the AAC.
Do they even have 12? Like, do they even have 12 anymore?
It's going to be a 14-team conference.
So it's now the Big 14?
Until Texas and Oklahoma go, and then it'll be 12.
Okay.
Right now, it's only 10.
When did Texas and Oklahoma go in?
That was supposed to, remember, it was supposed to be like 2025, but they have to negotiate their way out.
Yeah.
Like UCF, Cincinnati, Houston, and BYU, not BYU, I think.
What a mess.
They all just had to pay $18 million to get out early to the AAC.
By the way, congratulations to Georgina Koric, the 2022 NCAA Pitcher of the Year. How about that? Fantastic. She's worth the price of admission.
Yes.
Go see her pitch next year. Absolutely. All right, let's listen in. Media day yesterday, the Stanley Cup. John Cooper and General Manager Julien Brisebois, who I think does not get enough credit for building this team and keeping it competitive. He's done a fantastic job. But here's the media session with Coop and Brisebois.
The way, hey John, the way the Braden Point's practiced the last couple of days, looks like he's close. Like, do you think he'll be playing tomorrow in game 1?
There's a chance. Last series, if it was going to go deep, we thought potentially, but we weren't going to push anything. It's all about how he feels. He felt pretty good today. We'll see how he responds tomorrow. But things are leaning towards him playing. And if it's not tomorrow, really anticipate game 2, but we'll see how he is tomorrow.
Back right, Sean.
Hey, John. I'm interested in a quote from yours in that first round against the Leafs when you guys kind of had your back against the wall, and you said something along the lines of, not settling for the 2 cups that you have when you're on the cusp of greatness. I'm interested in how you felt your players received that message and what kind of motivating factor that has been down the stretch here, them, trying to kind of grab and carve out the history.
Well, it's been a big theme in our room. And I don't think you get this far unless there is a belief, a want, a drive to be better. And one of the things that we talked about, not only this year, but the year before, was why other teams don't get back there. Like, why is it so rare that another team can't get back? And, is it just enough that you got your name on the cup, you exhale, and it's okay, you get a few mulligans for the next couple of years? With our group, especially as our core has been together and how close we'd come beforehand, and to not be able to get there and now be here, we just thought, and the point that was like, we have to want this. Like we've worked so hard to build. Julian's built this team. I coach this team. These players play, but we've just taken so much to get here. Why not keep going? And that's been a big theme for ours, is putting our stamp in history. And you can't do that without winning and being committed and doing all the things and not exhaling. And I'll be honest, the guys have done a phenomenal job, especially in the Toronto series when we were down 3-2. When there are no tomorrows, they gave us 2 more months of tomorrows.
Front left,
pause that down for a second.
Down here, not to go back to another John Cooper quote, but
I think it's such a brilliant discussion on winning 3 in a row. And I think this is a powerful motivating factor for this team. I mean, think about it right now. I mean, the idea of winning 3 in a row when you're starting that climb is just insane, right? Like, and then you win 1. Now you've done back-to-back, and you're like, wow, that's a ridiculous accomplishment. And now these guys are 4 wins away from winning 3 in a row that will literally etch themselves onto the Stanley Cup for a 3rd straight year, and will be arguably the greatest accomplishment in the history of the NHL. That's a powerful motivating point that is not casually mentioned in the locker room. This has been a rallying point. That is, do you want to be special? Do you want to be immortal in the game? You're 4 wins away from hockey immortality. The difference between 2, there's a bunch of teams that have done 2. Mm-hmm. Ain't a bunch of teams that have done 3, and none of them have done it in the salary cap era.
Gave me a little bit of goosebumps when you said
I'm telling you.
It got me.
It's immortality.
It's immortality. That's a big word.
That's like a Marvel movie thing.
Yeah,
right there.
That's what I'm saying. We've been trying to find what's the motivation.
There it is.
I guess we downplayed it a little bit, and I've heard enough. I've been listening to a lot of former guys who have won the cup before. Alex Tanguay, if you remember, was on this Lightning team back in like 2008, 2009. He won the cup with Colorado, and he was talking today about it. And he's like, once you win it, it's like a drug. It's a drug, and you like have to feel it again. And that he was asked about what would Tampa Bay's motivation be. And I've heard a lot of people describe it like that. It is a drug and a contagious thing that you just don't want to lose, and you don't want to give it up. And it's such a fascinating thing because it's so easy for them to just wilt away and be like, yeah, we won 2. We've already gone above and beyond the call.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's so many crazy storylines. Like Corey Perry could lose 3 Stanley Cups in a row if he doesn't win this one. That Maroon could somehow win 4 Stanley Cups in a row. Ridiculous. So, I mean.
And what is that? Would be 12 series in a row?
Yeah.
I mean, then if they win this, the numbers are going to be off the freaking charts. All right, let's listen in a little bit more.
If anybody asked Julian a question.
But the other day he said that he brought up 2019. He said you could have blown it up. It's a credit to you and others that you didn't, that you stuck it out. I think the Avalanche have had similar situation where they could have made major changes. My question to you is, it's easy to say that now. How hard was it then to stay the course? And is there a larger lesson there about sticking with your coach and your core?
I'd actually like to know the answer to this.
It wasn't it never crossed my mind to make any drastic changes. The whole 2019 thing, it was a really, really bad 7 days, 8 days, whatever it was. It was out of character for our group. Our group had gone far into the playoffs before with John as the head coach, with this core. In 2015, went to the Stanley Cup Finals. 2016, Game 7 of the Conference Finals. 2018, Game 7 of the Conference Finals. So there was never any doubt in my mind that we had what it took to win. It didn't happen for us that year. And this just meant that we had extra motivation probably coming back. And one additional very painful experience in our backpacks that we could lean on going forward and learn from and come back stronger.
On the right side, third row, Jeff.
John, for the past 3 years, we've been talking a lot about the trades that Julien made to make the Lightning a better team. But outside of the trades, what makes Julien such a special GM?
This is
like Julian's like, I want to hear the answer to this.
You gave him that question.
I did.
Yeah.
You picked up the accent?
Okay, so truth be told, when Mr. Vinik, when Jeff took over the team and slowly brought everybody in, we were all kind of late to the party. And I remember when I interviewed for this job, it was August. And the joke was clearly they've run out of people to interview if I'm getting this interview in August. And I think we had a pretty good rapport during the interview back in 2010, to the point where I remember I was going to take a cab back to the airport. He said he would drive me back, and then we got lost. And I was like, it was tight to make my flight. And I didn't want to say like, what the heck's going on here? Because I just interviewed with him. I thought he knew the area, but he just moved in here. So I was like, why did you offer to drive me? So I barely made the flight anyway. Eventually get the job, but I believe like the relationship we fostered and the communication we had in the minors transformed right into the NHL. And I think when you get to this point, there has to be major trust. And I don't manage the team. I manage the players and coach them, but I don't manage the team who comes and goes. I can have my input, but I have to trust that Julian's going to do the right thing for what we need. And from the very, very beginning, in the players that we kept that year, our first year, the players we acquired years after that, and this was all in the minors, I knew that I was with like somebody I could trust. And if you're going to have success in the league, there has to be that trust. Just again, 2019, that never crossed his mind. We kind of joke about it, but in the end, it didn't really cross our mind that this was going to blow up. And but it takes time for this relationship to foster. And in the end, he's a winner. And he's won everywhere, the teams he's been with. He's built winners, and I wanted to be a part of that. It just took me some time to make sure I knew how to navigate my waters with his. And I mean, here we are. It's worked, and I trust everything he does, even when I'm questioning it in my head. I'm like, no, it'll work out. And but it's the communication and the trust. That's the big thing that I've grown accustomed with him, and he's yet to let us down.
Wow, that's an interesting answer there too.
Yeah, when I listened to this yesterday, that was the answer that stuck out is, your relationship with Breeze Ball and that connection. And we forget that's been 12 years now. These guys have actually been together.
Yeah.
This wasn't like Breeze Ball didn't know Cooper when he got the job after Yzerman left abruptly. This guy, he hired Cooper in 2010. to coach Norfolk,
Yeah.
which went on to be one of the greatest teams in the history of American Hockey League history.
Yeah. Well, they won 29 in a row.
27 in a row.
27
and won
in
the
a row.
Calder Cup, and a lot of those players are on this team right
Yeah,
now.
true. Yeah.
So, I mean, that just, to me, that whole thing, I continue to marvel at the fact that Jeff Vinnick buys this team in 2010? And in that same year, Julien Brisebois, Steve Yzerman, and John Cooper are all together in the organization when the Lightning were at their lowest.
Mm-hmm.
And who would have ever said then, 12 years later, they're going to be the class of the entire sports, of all sports right now. I mean, it's crazy when you think about it, honestly. And loyalty goes into that, but not loyalty to a fault. Trust is a big thing, like he just talked about. This is just, it's a crazy story.
It really is. And so is the airport story.
The airport story was great.
Yeah, it is, because when you think of this team, like, what are the adjectives you use when you think of the organization? One of the first things you say is continuity, loyalty, dedication, hard work, sacrifice, selflessness. And I always go back to Stamkos as the captain taking less money to stay here than go to Toronto. And I'm not talking like a couple thousand less. They offered him $12 million.
Yeah.
He's making 8.5. Now, they showed him how the money is equal and in terms of the Canadian dollars in Toronto and cost of living. So he was smart in that category. But also, I mean, still, you don't want to be looked at as that guy that took less money and for the players union, they always hate that stuff. But that was, to me, one of the seminal moments of this run, of this cup run, is when your captain decided that this is where he wanted to play because of this organization, that it wasn't about the money. It was about the people. It was about the continuity. It's about Tampa Bay. It's about living here, not being, in a fishbowl like Toronto, fans that support you but don't overwhelm you. It really is the perfect place to play. And you hear that every time somebody comes from another organization. Who were we listening to the other day? Was it Corey or Belmar?
Yeah,
Belmar talking about with his beautiful French accent. Don't you love the French accent? Especially, it even sounds more beautiful when the French talk English.
I love
it sounds better.
What was the accent of the reporter that asked
French.
that question? It was French, right?
French. It's a French Canadian speaking English is beautiful. It sounds so much better with that accent.
Side note, real quick, and this is mostly for Casey, so she can hear this later. Remember last year during the Cup, we had Brian on, I think, like every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So obviously you're hearing him talk every day, and he has that like thick French Canadian accent, right? Or Canadian accent at least. And I don't know what it was, but I guess hearing it every day, I would go home and I would start talking in it.
You would, absolutely.
Every time. And
It's a
Casey's
magical
Casey
sound.
hated it. She's like, "You're not Canadian. You don't play hockey."
But it sounds so beautiful.
But I'm like, it sounds so beautiful.
It is.
It's fantastic.
You love the French accent.
Yeah, so it's
and
fantastic.
the French language is the most beautiful language
I see why.
in the world.
I see why.
Fantastic. Now the French people, a whole nother deal. No, kidding. Do we have to take another break?
No, we did not.
All right. Well, you know what time it is.
What time is it?
It's time for the Coldplay Buccaneers Tampa Bay song. Cue it up on my Twitter. I'm telling you, people are gonna people loved it when I put it out. It's got over 1,000 views, man. So basically the preamble to this was Coldplay last night is like, we've always wanted to have a pirate ship on our set, but we could never build one and travel with one. So when they came to the stadium for the sound check, they're like, dude, we have a pirate ship. I have to write a song about a pirate ship because we have one right here. So we did. And so here we are in the Buck Stadium last night, and Chris Martin from Coldplay wrote a song. They never rehearsed it. He said, we're never going to play it again. It's the only time you're ever going to hear this song, and it's going to be right now. We've never rehearsed it. And you can't see this, but they were doing the tight shots of the slide guitarist, and she keeps looking up at him like, is this the right, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? And the bass players, they're all like, are we? But they pulled it off. So I'm not sure about the sound quality, but let's let it rip. See what it sounds like. It's kind of a twanger.
Now we have played the Super Bowl and all across the land. Now we're getting older. One of the world's most seasoned bands.
Seasoned band. Sounds like our football team.
We played at the Olympics, on the Grammys, on TV, and there ain't too many places now we haven't found ourselves to be.
You gotta love this. It's like very Mike and the Moon Pies.
Well, we've been across to Africa, the animals went crazy, and we even played where the Patriots played when they still had Tom Brady. We've been so very lucky. We've traveled far and wide. We've been to Disneyland and Disney World, and we've been on every ride. But today in Tampa Bay, something different came our way. Something we never done in all our many years. We ain't often too surprised, but today we realized we never played this side of pirate ship at the home of the Buccaneers.
There you go. How about that? You gotta love that. It's got a little country twang to it.
I was gonna say I did appreciate the steel guitar that
Right?
was there. That makes any song great.
Right.
Lyrics wise, it sounds like I'm in. You're in 6th grade. All right, guys, let's write an ode. That's right.
Yeah, it sounds like he wrote it while he was in the bathroom today.
They tell you it doesn't have to rhyme, but it wouldn't hurt, and you just kind of find all these random rhymes.
Yeah.
And you put it together. It's slapping on a. There you go.
It's an off the cuff song about a pirate ship in the home of Tampa Bay. It's Coldplay. It's Chris. How good is that?
The Tom Brady little drop,
little dig there. Sweet, right?
Pretty good, I guess.
You reluctantly like it. You're gonna be listening to it on the way home.
It had a little good. I'm reluctantly liking it because it had the steel guitar.
Yeah,
that saved it for me. And
but it's got to be a part of the Bucs.
That's
season.
what's frustrating me right
They
now.
have to play this before the game, at least in the pregame, while they're warming up. Come on, you got to.
I was gonna say
too much fun.
I was gonna say you could throw.
We'll bring
Gronk
him back
in
for
there,
the
but-
bring Coldplay back for the NFC Championship game here in Raymond James Stadium, and he can play it again. Do a little halftime.
I was gonna say I'd throw Gronk in there, but that's not exactly music that Gronk can twerk to. I don't think so.
Oh, he'd find a way.
I think he'd probably find a way, but I don't know.
He'd find a way. He'd find a way. Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
it was a great moment last night. The fans loved it. It was just kind of cool, with the pirate ship in the background and the whole.
It's a cool setting.
Yeah,
it's a cool setting. I can even hear the acoustics pretty well.
Oh, the sound was fantastic last night.
Video,
really good.
By the way, he did mention Mr. Brady, and you have to mention that Mr. Brady was on Dan Patrick today.
Yes.
I thought we might get something out of there, but apparently we got nothing.
I told you.
Nothing. I thought we'd get something more, but no questions about the Dolphins. No questions about Bruce.
Come
Arians,
on, Dan. What are you
questions
doing?
About Gronk. 12 minutes.
None of those. It sounds like that was a pre-arranged interview.
Brady
I don't think
said
Dan Patrick would ever do that. Like they wouldn't say there's
right?
things off
But,
limits.
but
how does Dan Patrick not bring it up?
Yeah, and I was kind of surprised though that Brady was even going on like a national interview like that, because then you're really opening yourself up. But he trusts Dan, obviously.
Yeah. Well, I'm because Dan Patrick always asks the tough questions.
Oh, I know.
Always. And he's so good at it because he does it in good humor. I think he's one of the best interviewers in the business because he does it in that way, but he always gets out the best questions. I'm shocked that he didn't ask any of those questions. And I would be really shocked to find out that those were made off limits, because that's it. But you know what? Honestly, that's where we are in America. I was thinking about this yesterday. Is that, now all these players like Draymond's doing a podcast after every game, and, they have media responsibilities, but they don't, give you anything there, and they go do it on their platform. So, and if you think about it, we just elected a president that had not really been scrutinized by the media because he doesn't have to be. And I think right now people are just realizing, organizations are realizing in sports that they don't have to be beholden to the media anymore. They don't have to answer the tough questions if they don't want to.
Well, Brady has said that over and over.
Exactly. Tom Brady controls how often he talks to the media, how long he talks to the media. So You heard it, when he did his media conference the other day. As soon as there was a question about the Dolphins, what did we hear? Last question, right? Last question.
Middle of the
Plus, they
answer.
were close. They were close to the end of his 12 minutes that he was
But it was
allowed
the
to
fact
talk
that
to
it
us.
was the middle of the answer.
But you, yeah, I'm right in the middle of the answer. But that athletes, organizations, political figures now control who they have to talk to, when they have to. It just never used to be like this.
Yeah.
Never used to be. That was the job of the media, to ask the tough questions. And the bottom line is, I would love to sit down with Tom Brady and get into these things and follow up on the things that he says. But you'll never get that opportunity.
Yeah. We're at the end of the show here, so before we go, just wanted to get these last things in here relating to the game tonight, because Jared Bednar is speaking.
Mhm.
It appears that not only Nazem Kadri, but Andrew Cogliano, he said our day-to-day. That would suggest day-to-day suggests that Kadri's going to come back at
He's
some
not.
point.
You
maybe.
can't. You can't. Like
no-
Bradley said the other day, you can't play hockey.
I
if you
would
just,
think so.
without
Who
a
knows?
thumb. You can't.
No starter yet in net. No starter. Declined to
Really?
say that. But Darcy Kemper was in the starter's net during the morning skate. So we shall see.
That's a good sign if you're a Lightning fan. If you think you have to play games about who your starting goalie is in the media to win the series,
You got two, you got none.
yeah, to win the series, well, you're not very confident in your team. So there you go. All right, our thanks to George Stoya from the Denver Gazette. It was really, really good talking about the Avs. You wanted to check that out. It was in the 10:30 portion of the show. And, of course, the great Doug Wechter, who hopefully will put that picture up of him in his Magnum PI costume with that stash. And we got Yankees and Rays tonight. And, of course, a little bit of hockey game, too. So go Bolts, go Rays. We'll be back tomorrow to discuss it all.